Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this week's ukulele lesson, Matt's going to be teaching you how to play Frolic, aka the theme song to Curb Your Enthusiasm. So off the bat, I've got to say that this has to be one of the most fun sounding tunes that we've done for Rock Class thus far, but a big shout out definitely has to go to Matt because he was able to take this tune and make it really shine on the ukulele. Now, I did get a chance to play through the entire arrangement, and I've got to say that it is perfect for the intermediate fingerstyle player. And there's a couple aspects of it that make it a good challenge for that level. First off, the chord work, it's got a few bar chords throughout, and it's got some chords that use some awkward fingerings, but Matt's going to be breaking down and explaining all that in detail throughout the lesson. The other aspect of it that makes it a little bit tricky is that it uses a swung eighth note fill. So if you need a recap on the difference between playing with a straight fill versus a swung fill, go ahead and check out this lesson. I'll also link it in the description box below. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward and it's really well suited for the intermediate player. Now let's take a step back and let's talk a little bit about this lesson, because in this video, Matt's going to be teaching you how to play the entire arrangement. But if you want to get the tabs to print off, keep for your records, and follow along with, that's going to be available at this link right here. Or you can go to the site, rockclass101.com, and do a search for Frolic. Now, also on that page will be the interactive on-screen tab viewer. Now, this is a really cool feature where you can hit play. You can watch the tab scroll across in real time. You can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you want. Just a great asset in getting this song down that much easier. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Matt to teach you how to play this, and then I'll see you at the end of the video.
Hello, my name is Matt Dahlberg, and today we're going to work on a solo ukulele instrumental arrangement of Frolic, which is the theme from one of my favorite TV shows, Curb Your Enthusiasm. This is meant for a high G ukulele, and let's go ahead and dive in with the pickup bar. To start here, it's pretty straightforward. We're just going to play open on the A, 2 on the A, which I like to use my index finger, and 4 on the A with the ring finger. Then we go into the first measure. We're going to play that 4 on the A again. And you'll notice when I'm picking through this, I like to use what's called 4-finger picking for a majority of it. If you wonder how to do that sort of technique, check out the link down below where there's a little tutorial that you can watch to get an idea of how it should sound and look. Now, after I pluck that 4, I'm then going to strum my filler chord of a D major 7. To play this, I'm just going to take my index finger and stack it across all 4 strings on the 2nd fret, leaving my ring finger still here on the 4th fret of the A string. And I'm going to do a down strum. Now you can use your index fingernail. That's what most people would do. I like to actually use my middle and ring fingers here and get this kind of nice background texture for it as I'm going through. But whatever you do is totally fine as long as you're strumming down for that little filler. Then we're going to pluck 3 on the A, so take your ring finger off, add your middle finger on the 3 of the A string. Then 2 on the A, which is already there in the bar if you just take away your middle finger. Then you're going to strum through now a D6 chord, which is just this here, barred all the way across the 2nd fret. Then you're going to pluck the G string 3rd fret, adding your middle finger right there. Now, when you listen to this measure on its own, it's a little bit tense, right? And that's because this song uses a lot of what's called chromaticism. And if you play it kind of out of order, or rather you stop at different places, it can sound really tense. And know that that's normal and okay. When you put it all together and add speed, it sounds really good. Let's go ahead and hear what the first measure sounds like, including the pickup bar. So it should be something like this. 2, 3, 4, 1. Going now into the second measure, we're going to add our ring finger back here on the 4th fret of the A string and play that. Still barring the 2nd fret from the previous bar. And then we're going to play 3 on the G. Take your middle finger and place that on the 3rd fret of the G string. Then take your ring finger off for 2 on the A. And then a down strum, taking your middle finger off, leaving your index, which should have been barred this whole time, across the 2nd fret. Then reapply the middle finger here on 3 of the G, and then 2 on the A, and then 3 on the A with the middle finger. A lot of that chromatic movement that I mentioned, which sounds really dissonant, but when you put it together fast, sounds great. So now measure 2 should sound something like this in time. 2 and 3 and 4 and. It's really weird when it's played slowly like that, isn't it? But just so that you can hear it with the context, I'm going to play the first 2 measures. I'm going to include the pickup bar there too. So it's something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And now you can hear it starts to sound a little bit more like the song. And when you add even more speed, it sounds even better yet. Let's go on to measure 3 now. Measure 3, we're going to play 4 on the A to start, but what I want you to do is use your pinky. And the reason for this is because we had that bar across the 2nd fret throughout measure 1 and 2. Now we're going to need that pinky to come on 4 and our index to go down to bar across fret 1, all the way across all 4 strings. And you'll play the 4 on the A with the pinky. And then you're going to strum a chord filler here, which is a C sharp major chord. And that is 1, 1, 1, 4, which will be there with your index finger if you have it in place. We're going to do that strum. And then we're going to play 3 on the A with the ring finger. And then 2 on the A with the middle finger. Then we're going to strum through this whole thing, which is a C sharp 7 chord, leaving the bar where it is. And then we're going to add the ring finger here back on 3 of the A. And play that. So measure 3 in time sounds something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going right into measure 4 now, we're going to reapply the pinky on fret 4 of the A string. And then we're going to slide that 4 all the way up to 16 on the A string. And while we do this, we're going to take our middle finger and place it on 13 of the E string and pluck those 2 together. And then we're going to slide them down as fast as we can, or not quite as fast as we can, but pretty close. And then we're going to take the index and place it on 1 of the C. If you listen to the original of this, it's got this cool like type of sound. And we tried to get that on the ukulele by just kind of going way up here and getting that 1 on the C. If that's too challenging or you run out of frets, it's also okay to minus 12 on any of these numbers. So instead of it being 13 and 16, you can instead play 4 and 1. That's another way of playing it, but it doesn't sound nearly as cool as that one. So measure 4 in time should be something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. And so that you can hear 3 and 4 now in time should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. And now as we go on to measure 5, it gets a little bit easier here. We're going to play 2 on the A string. Go ahead and use your middle finger there. And then you're going to play a strum on a C major 7 chord. 0, 0, 0, 2, you're already there. And then you're going to play 1 on the A with your index. Then open on the A, taking the hand off. Followed by a strum. And then you're going to play 1 on the A to finish that measure. So measure 5 in time is something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Going into measure 6 now, we're going to be still holding that 1 on the G, nothing else, but then we're going to add finger here to 2 on the A. I like to add my ring finger here, play that, then the 1 on the G again, then take the ring finger off for open on the A, then take everything off for an all open strum on that C6 chord, then reapply the index to 1 on the G, then open on the A, and then finally 1 on the A. So measure 6 in time is something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And when you put them together, where it really starts to sound a lot better, I really recommend when you're working on these, break it off into 2 measures at a time as you're practicing it. It just makes more for a contextual based practice. But measure 5 and 6 together should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now, as we go on to measure 7, we're going to play 2 on the A, but I want to build the chord that comes right after it. It just makes it so much easier. So the chord that we're going to play right after this 2 on the A is going to be a B major 7. To do this, you're going to play 3, 3, 2, 2. I like to take my middle finger and stack it on the G and the C strings on the 3rd fret, but coming off so that the E and A can be more open, so that the index can then come underneath and play 2 on the E and the A together. This is a really tricky shape. I would actually call this one of the hardest shapes to play on the ukulele, but it's really worth practicing. If you're struggling with it, here's a trick. Make sure that your middle finger comes up a little bit, because you don't have to contain it all like this. For me, my middle finger is pretty long, so I actually like to take this little pad opening and I put the C string right in there. So you see how much my middle finger sticks up and out of my fretboard, and then I have my index finger kind of come in underneath. It's like yoga for your fingers. Might not work today, might not work tomorrow, but with consistent effort, you'll get that flexibility that's required. So we play the 2 on the A, but when we play the 2 on the A, I'm going to have that index finger here so that I set up for that chord, and I do my down strum here on the B major 7. And then I'm going to play 3 on the G string by itself. And then I'm going to take the index, I'm going to raise it off so that the A string is open. Quick note, this is the hardest measure of the song, so stick with it, you got this. We're going to play that open. And then we're going to strum this sort of B7. Now it's kind of funny because we're not going to play the G string, or we're going to do our best job not to. We're going to kind of strum and try to hit just the C, E, and A. If you accidentally catch the G string in there, you'll hear it. It's really sour sounding. So you want to try to just strum so that you're getting the C, E, and A. And then you're going to play 3 on the G again. So this measure, which I truly think is the hardest of the whole song, looks and sounds something like this in time, nice and slow. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And as we go on to measure 8 now, we're going to recollapse that index finger, play 2 on the A. And then we're going to drop down. Index finger is going to go down to 1 on the C string. We're going to play that. Do a hammer on to fret 3 with the ring finger of the C string. Then the middle finger is going to play 2 on the E. And as it does this, it does a little bar here so that you can then play 2 on the A as well. So measure 8 in time sounds something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And measures 7 and 8 combined should sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now, as we go on to measure 9 from here, we're going to play open on the A. So take everything off, and then we're going to play a B flat major 7 chord. To do this, ring finger on the 3rd fret of the G string, middle finger here on the 2nd fret of the C string, and index finger here on the 1st fret of the E. Do a nice strum down on this. Then you're going to take your pinky and you're going to add it to fret 4 of the E string. Then you're going to play 3 on the E string, just sliding that pinky finger down. And then, this is crazy, we're going to then strum through, but we're going to take our our ring finger off. So we have just our index on 1 of the E, middle here on 2 of the C, and pinky here on 3 of the E. And we're going to strum through, but we're going to try to avoid the A string. And then we're going to play 2 on the E with our ring finger. So our pinky comes off and the ring finger is there on 2 of the E string. So another tricky measure. 9 looks something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Going into measure 10, we're going to play open on the A, leaving our fingers all where they were before. And then we're going to play 2 on the E with the ring finger. And then move that ring finger up 1 to 3 on the E. And then we can strum through that same chord we did in the previous measure, but now we're using our ring finger instead of our pinky. And then we're going to move that ring finger back down to 2, and then back up to 3, and then pinky up to 4. Again, when you play this stuff slow, it sounds real weird. But as you speed it up, I promise, it sounds more like the tune. But measure 10 in time should be something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And 9 and 10 should sound something like this together. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Going into measure 11, home stretch here. We're going to play open on the A. And then, finally, a normal chord. An A major chord. Middle finger here on the 2nd fret of the G string. Index finger here on the 1st fret of the C string. Strum through all 4 strings. Pinky then goes on to the 4th fret of the E string. And then 3 on the E, which I like to use my ring finger here. Then we're going to play this pseudo A7 to do this. Leave those fingers where they are, but just take the middle finger off. So you have index here on 1 of the C, ring finger here on 3 of the E. Do a down strum. And then play 4 on the E with the pinky. So measure 11 in time is something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Going into measure 12, we play open on the A. And then we downstrum an A chord. And then we're going to do these triplet quarter notes, which are a little tricky for timing, but play it by feel. If you listen to the original of the song, it's pretty easy to hear how this should sound. And we're going to play open on the A, 7 on the A, and then 5 on the A. Now, what I like to do for this is use my ring finger a whole lot. And the reason is to set up the next measure. So just kind of keep that in mind. Open on the A, 7 on the A, you can use the ring. 5 on the A, use the ring again. So measure 12 sounds something like this in time. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And we want to use our ring finger there on 5 because as we go to the next section, we're going to play 4 on the A, and we want that ring finger to slide down 1. This was a mistake I'd make a lot when I was first practicing, is I'd try to use my index finger, but then I'd fumble here on measure 13 because right after I play that 4 on the A, I need to play that D major 7 chord from the very beginning of the song again, barring across the 2nd fret with the ring finger here on fret 4 of the A string. So using that ring finger for most of that movement earlier just sets you up for success. And then after I strum that D major 7, I'm going to play open on the A. And what I'm going to do there is I'm going to take the ring finger off and I'm going to release the bar so it's only over the G, C, and E strings. This is the same concept we used with that earlier chord on the B major 7. It's just now the index is going to be across 3 strings, the G, C, and E strings. And so worth practicing. If you really struggle with it, it's okay to use 3 fingers, but work towards this. We're going to strum that down. So measure 13 in time is something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Really straightforward measure. And then we're going to play measure 14, which will start with an E minor 7 to do this. Index finger here on the 2nd fret of the C string, middle finger here on the 2nd fret of the A string. And I like to strum through this one with my thumb. Make it a little bit more musical, a little less percussive, and a little more lyrical. And then I'm going to play open on the A, and then 5 on the A using my index, and then 7 on the A with my ring. So 14 sounds something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And now from here, well, let's go ahead and hear what 13 and 14 sound like together. Should be something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now, from this point, you just played the 7 on the A. You're going to slide that down to 4 on the A because measure 15 is exactly the same as measure 13. Identical in every way. So measure 15 sounds something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Very familiar because we've already done it. Then as we go into 16, which is the first ending, we'll talk about that in a moment, we're going to strum through that same E minor 7 chord we did before with our thumb. And right after we strum through that, it's the first ending which kind of repeats the song. You notice it's going to play 0, 2, 4, all on the A string, which is exactly the same as the pickup bar to start the whole thing. So after you play that 0, 2, 4, you go back to measure 1 to play through the entire song again. That's how we kind of add length to this tune, and honestly, it just wants to repeat forever. But let's go ahead and hear what 16 sounds like in time. It should be something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... And 15 and 16 sound something like this. 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now from here we go back to the beginning of the song. And it goes all the way through the tune until you get to measure 16. And then instead of going to 16 the second time, you go to measure 17, which is kind of the same thing. Plays that E minor 7 chord, but instead of playing to repeat it, we just kind of play it and let it ring into the ether. And so this song doesn't really have a real ending. I mean, this chord's fine, but I like to just kind of repeat and fade, right? This song really likes that sort of sound. And so you can play with it and see what you think. But there you have it. That is the arrangement of Frolic, the theme from Curb Your Enthusiasm. And if I say so myself, I think this arrangement came out pretty good. So as always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. I will say this is one of my favorite arrangements I've ever done here at Rock Class 101. I had a blast working it out, and all that I want to do is play it. So as always, I'll see you guys next time for the next tutorial here at Rock Class 101. Thanks again. Take it easy.
Alright guys, so this week's ukulele lesson was a ton of fun. This is a really cool sounding tune and it works so well as a solo ukulele piece. Now I want to go ahead and give you a friendly reminder that if you wanted to get the tabs to print off, keep for your records, that was available at this link right here, or you can go to the site rockclass101.com, do a search for Frolic. Now also on that page was the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer, so you can literally hit play, you can watch that tab scroll across in real time, you can highlight bars to loop them, slow it down at any speed. Just a really great tool in getting this tune down that much easier. Alright guys, so again I hope you enjoyed this lesson and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.